Agriculture is an integral key to the survival of a blooming global population in the 21st century. However, in their efforts to be reliable food providers, primary producers are also faced with the challenges of satisfying the growing consumer demand for ecological consideration and quality while maintaining a profitable business. Clearly aware of the connection between success and the environment is the Canadian cattle industry. And beef producers in Alberta are leading the way with an internationally recognized product that begins with the careful management of grass, soil, air, and water.
When the environment is right, not only does the land and the water benefit from that, but the livestock that is being raised on that land and water also benefits from that.
In support of the Alberta cattle industry's dedication to sustainable production practices, Alberta Beef Producers proudly recognizes one environmentally conscious operation every year with the Environmental Stewardship Award.
The Environmental Stewardship Award was started by Alberta Beef Producers in 1992 at a time when we were probably one of the very first agricultural organizations to begin presenting an award such as this. And since then, we've had a wide range of operations receive the award, from relatively small cow-calf operations to some feedlots.
Environmental stewardship is a fundamental component of any successful beef operation. The term may be new, but the underlying principle is ingrained in the history of the province's cattle industry.
Our parents in the older generation have always given us the idea that you have to respect the land, and I don't know that Dad ever thought of it as holistic management, but a lot of the things he taught us come under that heading now. That you can't just look at one thing, you have to look at the whole big picture and how this affects every part of what you're doing.
When I look back, I think my dad and my grandpa were probably environmentalists, and they probably didn't know it. They realized the importance of, if you look after the grass or the resource today, then it'll look after you tomorrow.
Each year, nominations for the award are accepted by Alberta Beef Producers up to July 1st. In late summer, eligible applicants are visited by an evaluation team composed of 3 ABP delegates, the award winner from the previous year, and a special guest judge. Each contender is appraised for similar criteria based on the type of operation being evaluated. With the results in hand, the most deserving candidate is selected by the panel of judges as Alberta Beef Producers' winning representative of the Environmental Stewardship Award for the next calendar year. For many recipients, it's the belief in the longevity of the family farm that defines the importance of living up to the criteria, establishing the link between past and present practices having a direct impact on the sustainability for future generations.
Well, my great-grandfather homesteaded here in 1885, and I'm 4th generation, and my son and daughter, Robert and Matthew, are 5th generation.
So we're 3rd generation, and with my kids, that's going on 4.
It's hard to believe when I think back of it that it is going to be 100 years old in a couple more years.
The multi-generational aspect of the agriculture has made it work. That transition of knowledge of the land itself, in pure manpower, experience, innovative ideas, talent, that's where the real strength lies.
And I guess that's why we get involved, because we have nurtured our place and hope that as we continue to nurture it, then our family will be able to raise their family there.
And one of the biggest goals we both are doing is try and encourage the next generation to come back.
Stewardship initiatives take shape in a wide variety of methods and how they're implemented. Basic wisdom grounded in pure common sense is shared by many producers, especially when it comes to optimizing their grass resources.
My main source is the grass. That's where I make my living from. The cattle are kind of secondary. Built the grass, haven't got the cattle, so I'm selling grass really.
The grass is my factory, and it doesn't have walls around it, but it's no different than some other factory. And I turn this grass into something that people can eat, and so I have to look after it.
That's the money in the bank, is our grasses. You know, we try to probably leave half the grass that was there when we went in, eh? It's nice to keep a cover. It keeps the ground from drying out, and it catches snow in the winter.
And we don't mind leaving some extra grass there because that is thatch, and that produces shade for the small grasses that are growing, and it recovers quicker if it's not chewed to the ground and then starts over.
That's where you're talking art and science of range management. You got to get a feel for how it's going to work, how much rain you've had, how fast is the grass growing right now, how fast are we going to come back to this field in the rotation. You got to be out there looking and judging, and really got to see what's happening on your place.
And sometimes that means straying from the norm of tried and true, using customized ingenuity tailored to the individual operation.
This year was our first year of using sheep along the streams or to combat the leafy spurge. Anywhere where the land was bad, it would really grow well, and the cattle won't graze it.
So sheep prefer forbs. They are complementary grazers to cattle. They select grasses that cattle may not select.
On this pasture, one of the issues we had was a large cloverleaf muskeg. And we forced the cattle to come out into the muskegs a little more, pick at the soil that's here, and now we've just got this terrific grass growing throughout most of the muskeg now, and it just keeps getting better every year.
We have changed over to moving the salt in recycled half barrels, and in this particular spot, the high traffic area of the cattle, as you can see, has really made life difficult for this ground juniper.
We'll take and we'll swath this. We won't bale it or pick it up and take it home. The cattle will eat it right out of the swath. The manure will be spread in the field, and the nutrients cycle right back here.
In conjunction with strategic grazing techniques and range use, water management is just as important.
All the grazing management in the world doesn't really matter unless you have a good source of water to go along with it. And cleaner, better water they drink, better the cattle do, better it is for the environment that they're in. The watering is our big thing. We are pretty lucky we have some natural water springs that we've all fenced off, and so the cows don't go in there at all. We've, again, lucky enough to use our hills and an advantage to have just a gravity flow into water troughs.
We don't want to pollute the river, but we're an old feedlot, and it wasn't engineered and designed like the new feedlot, so we had to design a system that doesn't trap all the water but cleans everything as it goes through. So then we go backwards from there and follow our watershed, and we developed settling ponds, filter strips, landscaped the waterways and grassed them, and then we've been developing marshlands.
Well, this is one of our many hard crossings, we call them. And we found that if we can give them a hard crossing like this, basically they'll stay out of the rest of the streams. As far as the environment goes, keeping cattle out of riparian areas that are sensitive to traffic ensures the health of the water and the water supply itself.
In addition, by protecting water and grazing resources, producers provide benefits to the native habitat and wildlife species in the surrounding area.
The Milk River has got a few cottonwoods, and they are beautiful trees, and we don't have very many young ones. And so I become very conscious of the river valley itself and the type of vegetation and what the cows are doing, the beaver are doing, and the deer are doing, and the porcupines. And I'm trying to give the native area, particularly the riparian areas, a bigger rest at the right times of the growth, and trying to get more of the brush and the trees to be there.
This piece was donated by Doc Seaman to Pheasants Forever, and it was always a wetland when we fenced it off, and these planted trees, and it's just kind of a nice little piece of the ranch that is saved for the wildlife.
Together with Ducks Unlimited, we restored over 100 wetlands on our property.
They're shallow wetlands, so really good brood habitat for ducks and geese.
When the goal is environmental sustainability, there are countless organizations available for producers to work with.
When we first purchased this land in the early 90s, the creek banks didn't look anything like they look right now.
We actually worked with cows and fish. They come out and monitored the situation, and we strategically fenced and placed salt and grazed it at the proper times of the year so the creek could establish its banks back again.
I made a point of attending the cows and fish program and got a real appreciation for how important it is. They've been excellent to work with, keeping us informed of what's going on.
The local forage association, West Central Forage Association, Bob and I have both been involved in that organization, and they've been to our place a number of times, looking at this or looking at that.
The provincial government, Premier Stelmach, along with Ted Morton and Minister Adie, announced the Heritage Rangeland Act, which will protect the grazing lease component along with the deeded component of OH Ranch. So that's got to be a win-win for everybody.
Well, it's obvious that the cattle industry values the positive returns generated by environmental stewardship. Broader support through positive public perception is also key to the ongoing success of Alberta's beef industry.
The support that the Canadian beef farmer has had over the last few years by the public has really been important to us. They've helped us through some tough times.
We're not ruining the earth to grow food. You know, we're actually making it better, producing food in a clean environment, healthy environment. People are more conscious what they eat. They want to see where it comes from, how it's grown, how it's handled, and this is where it starts.
And that is one of the stories that we're telling with our beef now, is that, you know, by supporting beef, you know, in this sort of situation, you're also supporting landscape management and biodiversity.
It makes you feel proud about what you do when you have people actually thank you for not just about producing the beef, but about looking after the land.
It's clear that recipients of the Environmental Stewardship Award are absolutely committed to their role in the industry and to sustainability initiatives. They are also sincerely honored for the acknowledgement that Alberta beef producers gives for their efforts.
It's a job that we take very seriously. So to be recognized for our efforts here gives us the confidence that we're headed in the right direction here.
A lot of the other guys in the Waldron have done a lot of work going a long way back. So winning the Environmental Stewardship Award vindicates a lot of the work they've done. And
to be nominated by our peers, being recognized for trying to do things right and trying to make a difference, it was quite an honor, and we were very, very happy to win.
However, recognition is not what motivates their involvement.
I find it hard to believe to the best of my knowledge, we haven't gone out to do and to win an award. We're just doing things that are common sense.
I was just doing what I thought had to be done, and I never thought anything of it.
The earth is not just habitat for wildlife, birds and whatever, it's our habitat too. And we have to look after what we have in front of our doorstep. And we want to make sure we keep it, we preserve it, we look after it, and that's what we do.
If we don't have healthy grass and healthy water, then we don't have healthy cows. And we have to have healthy cows in order to make money, in order to live the lifestyle that we've chosen.
Alberta Beef Producers salutes the past winners of the Environmental Stewardship Award and all those who continue to secure the future of the beef industry by demonstrating sound environmental practices.
The Environmental Stewardship Award is good for the producers, it's good for the industry, it's good for organizations involved in the agriculture sector, and ultimately it's good for the environment.
We know that there's a lot of producers out there that have been doing an exceptional job for a number of years and haven't yet been nominated for this award. And if you know of somebody or you are somebody that is doing above and beyond the ordinary, we'd like to have you nominated for this particular award.
For nomination information and to learn more about environmentally sustainable beef production, contact Alberta Beef Producers or visit our website.